This is Section 1 of Mark Twain's Journal Writings, Volume 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, visit LibriVox.org. Mark Twain's Journal Writings, Volume 2, by Mark Twain. Section 1, A Curious Experience, Part 1. Read by John Greenman. This is the story which the Major told me, as nearly as I can recall it. In the winter of 1862-3, I was commandant at Fort Trumbull, at New London, Connecticut. It may be our life there was not so brisk as life at the front. Still, it was brisk enough in its way. One's brains didn't cake together there for want of something to keep them stirring. For one thing, all the northern atmosphere at that time was thick with mysterious rumors to the effect that rebel spies were flitting everywhere, and getting ready to blow up our northern forts, burn our hotels, send infected clothing into our towns, and all that sort of thing. You remember it. All that had a tendency to keep us awake, and knock the traditional dullness out of our garrison life. Besides, ours was a recruiting station, which is the same as saying we didn't have any time to waste in dozing or dreaming or fooling around. Why, with all our watchfulness, 50% of a day's recruits would leak out of our hands and give us the slip the same night. The bounties were so prodigious that a recruit could pay a sentinel $300 or $400 to let him escape, and still have enough of his bounty money left to constitute a fortune for a poor man. Yes, as I said before, our life was not drowsy. Well, one day I was in my quarters alone, doing some writing, when a pale, ragged lad of 14 or 15 entered, made a neat bow, and said, "I believe recruits are received here?" "Yes." "Will you please enlist me, sir?" "Dear me, no. You are too young, my boy, and too small." A disappointed look came into his face, and quickly deepened into an expression of despondency. He turned slowly away, as if to go, hesitated, then faced me again, and said in a tone which went to my heart, "I have no home, not a friend in the world. If you could only enlist me—" But of course the thing was out of the question, and I said so as gently as I could. Then I told him to sit down by the stove and warm himself, and added, "You shall have something to eat presently. You are hungry?" He did not answer. He did not need to. The gratitude in his big soft eyes was more eloquent than any words could have been. He sat down by the stove, and I went on writing. Occasionally I took a furtive glance at him. I noticed that his clothes and shoes, although soiled and damaged, were of good style and material. This fact was suggestive. To this I added the facts that his voice was low and musical, his eyes deep and melancholy, his carriage and address gentlemanly. Evidently the poor chap was in trouble. As a result, I was interested. However, I became absorbed in my work by and forgot all about the boy. I don't know how long this lasted, but at length I happened to look up. The boy's back was toward me, but his face was turned in such a way that I could see one of his cheeks, and down that cheek a rill of noiseless tears was flowing. God bless my soul, I said to myself, I forgot the poor rat was starving. Then I made amends for my brutality by saying to him, "Come along, my lad, you shall dine with me. I am alone today." He gave me another of those grateful looks, and a happy light broke in his face. At the table he stood with his hands on his chair-back until I was seated, then seated himself. I took up my knife and fork, and, well, I simply held them, and kept still, for the boy had inclined his head and was saying a silent grace. 1,000 hallowed memories of home and my childhood poured in upon me, and I sighed to think how far I had drifted from religion and its balm for hurt minds, its comfort and
Sample complete. Ready to continue?